I'm sure by now you've all aware that the Alliance has come together to focus on something called Operation Apollo. All of you are aware of that?
Yes.
I guess that's the universal yes.
Yes. Yes.
Part of the bigger picture here is that we're beginning now another wave. You know, there's a series of waves that come in, like the ocean. There's sets that come in. And we're beginning another set, another wave, another heat of energy that has to do with a larger picture. And that larger picture is something that's never been fully fulfilled or realized in our written history, and that's democratizing spiritual work or works. So what's democratizing mean? What's the definition of that? Anybody
Everybody has
know?
a people
Bringing
a
other
voice,
people.
giving more people a voice.
Making available to all.
Yeah, for all.
Right? So spiritual works, well, that's your business. So democratizing spiritual works. This is the harmony between the Alliance, but certainly with IPMI related to that because of its inner and outer leadership focus. So as it's been reminded to me so many times that the leaders, whilst they are eagles, and eagles don't flock, you still have to have a place, a home to come together and be a part of something, right? A common denominator. And that's why I feel it's so important from the big picture, from the college, for multiple reasons why I'm always supportive of that leadership, inner leadership pivot point. So the Operation Apollo is the beginning of this. The college is moving into expanding what we have, rallying together what we have. Most of you are in the class now, Spiritual Educator Level 1. But in short, that's just bringing together our basic programs of lectures, second nights, group work, training, in such a way that people can do what you do in a compact unit, instead of just onesies and twosies. Right? Because we're going to start opening the door more publicly to, do you want to do what I do? IPMI, of all of our organizations, probably represents the founder's thrust most predominantly. Give opportunity, or giving opportunity. Whilst we do it everywhere, I think as far as the body goes, this is the key to doing it. I'm sure you may have brought it up already, but the need also for the spiritual watchdog system, I feel, needs to be reestablished. Because with all the many wild horses, we need to make sure we maintain our high standards, right? And everybody knows where we're going to begin and end. So at least then I know if I'm falling off the edge, I know I'm falling off the edge. So Operation Apollo is the beginning of that. Reaching how many?
20,000.
20,000 by when?
2020.
By the end of 2020. Right? So this is an ambitious goal. Right? And we broke it down into the math. You know, if we work with X amount of people, so many people work with X amount of people every month, we make it. Right? So we've got the math. But it's really more about inspiring people to be the leaders of leaders. That is our core, and it's what separates us out from other groups. There's plenty of, I don't know if anybody here, any of you know of any other time in written history of how many spiritual movements and how many self-understanding programs and how many life coaches, I mean, how many religious organizations. We got a lot of them, right? So that's great. We've been doing good stuff. It's because it's now proliferating into society. So they're doing us a favor. They're helping people get ready. But really, our thing is about leaders of leaders. Right? It's all in those, most of you have been through it before, right? And then the group work slides talks about, are you going to be the important leader with those groups? Or are you going to give space for that leadership to grow and evolve? Are you going to squash those leaders? Or are you going to keep stepping back? So that's our distinctive competence. That's our energy. And as long as we stay in that, then we don't have to even be concerned about any kind of outer competition. We don't have to worry about, oh, this one's doing this, so we got to do that. We don't have to get involved in that. Spirit will tell us where to find the next wave of people. So, Operation Apollo. This is an important wave that we want to start stimulating people right from the beginning. Nothing wrong with it. And the college is definitely going to be a part of that. Starting to advertise publicly. If you want to be a leader. And then we'll be plugging them into you as leaders and IPMI and the other organizations as well. But to start expanding from that bigger picture. So I want to be clear that when you're sharing with other people, you're passing on the bigger picture. And that is, we are working on fulfilling something that has never been fulfilled before. People have talked about it. Groups have tried. But it's never been fulfilled before. And that's to make available spiritual work to everyone. Now we know not everybody's ready for that. That doesn't matter. That's not our business. How many of you have heard of the 7001 profile? What's the title of that?
World Dimensions for Journeyman.
That's right. How many of you do that profile? Right. So, for those, put your hands back up. For those of you who do that profile, swap, trade, beg, borrow, steal, go get yourself a fresh one. Go get a fresh one, get the opposite of your thrust, go get a fresh one. Trade if you must. Pay for it out of your nose if you must. Because it needs to get back to your personal. We are in the business of personal. It needs to get back to your personal. How many apprentices and leaders do you need to reach before you die? Because we know you're going to keep doing it when you're dead, so how many do it when you're here? We need to come back to that and ally that with Operation Apollo. It needs to be that personal so you can do your business. Everybody have a feeling for what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get that out there? So, I need to get my personal clear. And I know most of you have been doing that. We regroup, that's why we regroup, we go to the international grouping, etc. But it's time to start aligning it with your business. Because the higher standard you set, I set, we set, is what will attract people that we need. I'm not interested in looking for everyone. I'm interested in the ones who are looking for me, and me looking for them. That's it. And every single person I encounter is my candidate. How's the sales thing? I go through the nose to get to the yes.
Oh, yeah, give me 10 no's so I can get a yes.
That's right. Give me the X amount of no's so you get your ratio down. Right? The founder figured out he had a 10-to-1 ratio, which is, by the way, really good.
Really high.
You're talking about someone who's honed their craft, honed their story. What is the symbol for Apollo? Who knows what the symbol of Apollo is?
The liar.
The lyre. What's a lyre?
It's a musical instrument.
Right. It looks like a horseshoe, And then it's got a little piece of steel on top with cords that run down. Right? And then you have a little jokester or somebody comes by and ring, 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 ring. Like that. So when the queen and king said, "Bring me a lyre," it's not this little guy that runs out and says, "I'll pay you tomorrow." Operation Apollo, that's the symbol, the lyre. Portable music can go with me anywhere I go. My song can be with me. My instrument is with me wherever I go. Right? So, building something that hasn't been attempted for a long time, and that's what you're a part of. As long as you're going to be involved with this group, with these programs, you're a part of that. You're a part of democratizing spiritual works. This is part of what you should tap into when you go to sleep and when you wake up in the morning if you want to make this your business. I suggest you do it tonight and feel what the difference is when you wake up in the morning. You've all heard of going to sleep in the energy, so you can ask your guidance to wake up you in the energy of your thrust. Try doing this. Wake up in the energy of Operation Apollo and democratizing spiritual works. See what comes to you. It will keep you out of the funk. It will keep you way ahead of your spooks. And bad habits will be easier to shake off than before. I've told this story multiple times, so I'll tell it again. So the founders were on tour, and they did a little over the 3-month tour. It was a couple different areas in the States and internationally. Incidentally, they learned on that particular one that you're not supposed to go past 3 months on tour because you start getting too thin. They came back and camp was on. They came back into a camp situation. And we're tracking a lot of new people. There's a lot of time slots happening, all that good stuff. And at that time, down the hill was where they were staying. And so it's like 10 o'clock at night or something like that. And they pull in, take their stuff off, taking a shower. They just want to crash, right? They've been on tour, they just want to crash. So there's a knock on the door. So Maria goes to the door, opens the door, comes back. "Francisco, there's someone at the door that wants to talk to you about inner peace." So he gets up, puts his suit back on. Maria said, "Stuff you, I'm going to sleep." Right? So she went to sleep. He went, opened the door. They went into their front office, and he sat with that guy, and they regrouped. They regrouped for 3 hours. That means 1 o'clock in the morning, they got done. Guy left, went back, got his tie, went to sleep. You have to care about people to do that kind of thing. You have to care. But just perhaps more focused than that is you are interested in the people you came to work with. Because you'll know very quickly if there's a message you need to share. We never saw that guy again. But there was a need there that that leader was willing to fulfill. And that's just true concern. It's nothing special. It's just true concern. The truth is you probably all could do better today than what they were all doing 40 years ago, 50 years ago, because you're armed with more. You have a different set of experiences. Those people back then had to be dragons to survive. We're in a different era now. It's a much more refined energy. It still needs to be strong in your leadership, but it's more refined. You can be focused. So finding the love, finding the peace, inner peace, to be able to be of service. Do you have the peace to set your boundaries when it needs to be set? Do you have the peace inside to go the extra mile and share with those people that need your message? Do you have the peace inside to be relaxed when everybody's nervous or fearful? It doesn't take anything special. I'm sure you all know leaders who have had some degree of success and they've had full of warts. Right? What's the story? You never get to know your heroes. You find out they put their underwear on just like you. It's terrible. So, Operation Apollo. This is what we've begun. I think we technically started delaying some of it so we could officially start it right after the board meetings, the official things. We even have like a little thermometer system we're going to start setting up, so everybody that starts dropping people in the system, you see how we're progressing. Right? Don't forget to do the events. Do your events. Right? Get your personal clear in this cycle, where you are today, where you're heading, so you can do your business. Because you are in the business of personal. Everybody get that? You're in the business of personal. You're helping people with their needs. Right? You're helping them with their needs. Know where you need to be when you need to be. Otherwise, we're going to become a saving vibration. So next time you see your sisters and brothers, and you give them a hug, shake their hand, just look them in the third eye and say, leader. And let them say it back to you. So you remember where you fit. Leaders can follow, but you're always a leader inside. Don't forget where you fit. Don't forget the need. Tune into the need. All those things that we talk about. So, how many of you had some transitions going on in the last many years? Had some change go on in your life? Yeah? Good. When you start attracting a lot of people, you need to have done that. You need to have gone through it so that you can be stable and now be of service to people. You have yourself in order. Right? Have yourself in order because you're ahead of the game. So when we work with new people in the group work, and we start another group, what do we tell the group members in that group about the new group?
After 3 weeks in group work, you can lead another group.
That's right. You only need to be a little bit ahead to be able to help someone with their next step. That's all it takes. Just be a little bit ahead. And there's a tremendous amount of support and backing with it. All of you know what I'm talking about when you're working with people spiritually, how many teams now are bundled together to help you pass on a simple message. You don't have to make sure they get it. You just need to make sure you do your 50% and pass it on. Then they can do whatever the hell they want with it. I come back to the 7001 because you don't have the time to get caught in glory trips, devotion, or competition. You don't have the time. If you realize the thousands of people currently that need to hear your message, you cannot spend too much time on someone who just wants to take. Leaders of leaders. So, we are adapting every day. We're building another leg in the college so that you have more tools. But nothing has changed. Inspiring people with the lecture, second night, group work, courses, materials, and camps are our foundation and our core, and it's never going to change. All we're doing over here in the college is building another leg so that you have more tools to help people. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Keep your tools sharp. Pass on what you've learned. Start a new adventure. Do all these things so that you're in life. If you're not starting another adventure, then the not so good news is you're involved in death. Not that you have to be afraid of anything, but you're here for fun and adventure. You're here for fun and adventure. So, I want you to keep regrouping, finding out where you need to begin and end. Push off the things that don't belong anymore. I would love for you to break the taboos of your cycle, especially for those of you who are at or beyond decision. I would love to see examples of spiritual leaders who are redefining society's cycles. I mean, our cycles are our cycles. But I'd love to have spiritual leaders redefine what it's all about. Because one of the quotes is that the greatest troubles or the worst thing that people can get involved in is not realizing their potential. That's the worst. You know what's worse than fear? What's worse than fear?
Regret. Success.
Sure. What?
Success.
Ignorance. Ignorance is the worst thing. And you have the red pill for that. Right? That's why not everyone will want to float near you all the time, because you actually have a solution. When they get the lecture and the profile, they can't claim ignorance anymore. So not only do you give them the red pill, you offer them to snort it.
You can transform right away.
That's right. What I'm trying to say is, if you lift yourself, you're going to lift people. If you stop accepting lesser of yourself, You will stop accepting lesser of people. You will stop relying on what is being lied to you with your eyes and what you're listening to. People will lie to you unless you're willing to go see the soul, hear the soul. You're going to get lied to. So you get yourself in order and align yourself with spirit, align yourself with the mission, and that bigger purpose. It's going to keep you younger, healthier, and on track with spirit. Align yourself with the higher standard. Not in a way that you have to beat yourself up, just that you know where you're heading. Put your nose toward that goal. How's that feel? Put your nose toward the goal of a higher standard. You got people in your life you're having challenges with, move to a higher standard. If you keep having the same troubles over and over again, go look in the mirror. As a leader, you have to be that clean and clear with yourself. First time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. Right? Align yourself. Let spirit in. Let them in to work with you on a higher standard. Be obedient to your feelings, to spirit. You won't have time to get involved in the mess. You will mind your business. And I've aligned myself, especially when I'm up front in class, I'm starting to get to the point where I see the soul. Right? Not always. I still have my hiccups, believe you me. But I'm starting to see the soul, so it makes it difficult for you to, how did Francisco say it? To bamboozle me. I might let it slide or let it pass because it's not the right time for me. But that's what you do when you align yourself with a higher standard and spirit. You start actually seeing instead of looking. You start actually hearing instead of just trying to listen. That's alignment with spirit, the higher standard. And in my opinion, that is what you have to offer with your personal thrust and message. You will share the higher standard. You will shed a lot of people's ignorance through your charisma, through your excitement, with higher standards. That's what this is about to me, particularly IPMI. That's why I put up with all of you guys. And I'm sure you put up with me. Because tag, you're it. If you're looking around for someone to do it, you're going to look for a long time. I don't know of any bishop, of any priest, of any pope, any life coach that has the amount of knowledge, wisdom, and things you put together for yourself spiritually. I know of none. Not one. They're good at what they do. They're good at what they do, but I know of none of them that have what you have. I would put any of you up on a panel next to the biggest bishop or pope any day. Claim your opportunity. Claim your power. Don't be a jerk with it. Claim the opportunity and power. Everybody get that? Operation Apollo. Okay, so this is what we're doing. Inspire your sisters and brothers to be a part of it. Don't be afraid to leave people behind. Don't be afraid to leave them behind. Trust me, they have planes, trains, and automobiles to catch up to you. And when it's time, they will. Pass on what you learned and keep moving forward. And don't forget that 7001, all of you. Right? Any questions? Well then, fun and adventure await you. Let it in. Spirit is there. Let it in. It's either your standard or it's not. And I want to work with you because you have higher standards, because I need it. I need it. I'm very selfish. I need your high standard. Because sometimes I go through life and I need your high standard to remind me. So just think what happens to your apprentices when they get around you. Adventure and fun await you. How much fun can you handle? All right, team. Thank you for the opportunity. I will see you on the other side of the adventure.
Thank you, Tiger.